like trying to.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Even Your Dynasty show.
We just got breaking news in.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Even Your Dynasty show. We got Dan here with us. Ricky's on assignment this week.
What's up, buddy?
What's going on, man?
You know, had to rep the Sharks tonight. I don't know why. I was just in the mood for it.
Yeah. Hey, it's a vibe. It's all good.
Can't go wrong in two.
Yeah, exactly. You know, hey, exciting young team. Something we wish the Giants feel like they're kind of trending that way a little bit. A lot of young talent there. So, I love it. Welcome, everybody. Hope you guys are having a good Thursday. Nice off day live show. We're gonna get a bunch of these. It feels like for the rest of the season. I think I looked ahead on the schedule and only maybe one or two more Thursdays are actually playing games. So we're pretty set up to just do these on off days going forward.
We're locked and loaded on here for Thursdays, bro.
Yes, sir.
It's too bad we won't be able to do it next Thursday, though. Well, at least during the day.
Yeah, we wish we could do it next week during the trade deadline. It would be super fun to do one of these during the deadline, like the last hour or so, but I got to work, man. So we'll do it that night, and we'll definitely be talking all about the results of the deadline or anything that happens in the next week. Because, as we just saw today with Josh Naylor getting traded to the Mariners, they might not wait all the way. They already did Devers' deal before. You never know when that deal actually might go down. So,
yeah, I think, you and I kind of talked about it privately, but I think these next 6 games are really going to determine how Buster approaches next Thursday's deadline. So, yeah. You got a series coming up against the Mets where, you want to at least take 1 or 2 away from that. And then you got one against the Pirates, which, theoretically, you should sweep them. But unless you're playing Skeens, and good luck.
Yeah, I haven't looked ahead yet at who we're going to get in that series. So I haven't I haven't looked to see if Skeens is lined up for this series. If he is, then,
and good luck.
You better win the other 2 games. That's all.
Exactly.
I don't want to have to bank a win on Skeens. Mm-hmm. And no, Dan, I wish it
not
was.
Yet. Not yet.
I love it. Dan, if you want to hop in here, just shoot me a text. You're always welcome, bro. But yeah, so the Giants right now where they stand, they're they are, I believe, 1 game behind in the wild card. So they're 5 games over 500. They got 6 games left before the deadline. They're coming off 2 really nice wins where they, really just kind of took the belt to the Braves the last 2 games of that series, which is good because they were riding a 6-game losing streak. And you look around Giants X, KNBR, any of these stations, it was kind of turning into, oh dear God, sell. And there's still 6 more games. Theoretically, if they go 0-6, they can end up under 500, but winning those 2 games against the Braves and having the Pirates at home as one of these next 2 series, they're kind of set up to at least be in a good spot, in the playoff race. So I do think it's going to be a little unlikely that they sell, but that's kind of where they're standing right now. We'll talk a little bit about their play over the last week. There is some good stuff to take from it, some bad, obviously, as well. So we're going to start off with that, and then we'll jump into the trade talk for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Like you mentioned, coming out of the All-Star break, we didn't look good, plain and simple. Apparently the team had a talk after Monday's loss, and then next thing you know, we took the chancla to the Braves, and good things happened from there. So it was nice to see the offense bounce back. Chappie acknowledged it as far as, they needed to have a talk about it, just admit that they're big boys and just go make some contact, and offense looked good. Keller, Falter, and Burrows. Okay.
Yeah.
At least there's no teams.
Yeah, it's better than facing Skeen. So regardless, Keller, I feel like throws the ball pretty decent against the Giants, actually, but still, yeah. And I know Webb will probably pitch the last game of that series because he is lined up to go tomorrow. So, yeah, we'll see kind of what happens. But yeah, I mean, we probably ought to just rinse that Toronto series out. That was just they had moments of looking like a competent team, and then Toronto just took the pitching behind the woodshed. It was a rough series for the rotation, for the bullpen, for everybody. I think Joey LaCasey might have been the only guy to throw the ball well in Toronto in that series. Willie Adames has gotten hot though, which is a good sign.
Yeah, bro.
Devers obviously just had a huge game, and he's been hitting the ball hard, much better at bats lately. Ramos even's got a couple hits. This last series, he was swinging it pretty decent. Chapman was swinging the bat pretty well. It looks like the offense is finally starting to wake up. Casey Schmidt hit one that somehow only went 416 feet, although it looked like it almost left the stadium. He's been getting off some better swings. The results haven't necessarily followed that, but the plate discipline is still much better. I feel like he'll get going a little bit. Patrick Bailey, as much as we give him crap, has swung the bat really well the last 10 days. Overall, like the offense is waking up, and now remains to be seen if they can carry it over to Oracle, obviously, but it's a good sign. But of course, now with that, the negatives of this, obviously the pitching staff in Toronto got kind of knocked around a bit. And then Hayden Birdsong. I mean, I love the guy. I really do. Everyone knows he's like one of the players I've been highest on coming out of the system. Him and Roop, I was obviously extremely high on. Roop, I had a little bit more confidence in just because he has less of an issue throwing strikes, and the command issues have really reared their ugly head on Hayden Birdsong. So obviously he went down along with Tristan Beck. And I think Beck was just more a usage thing. And they brought Jelly and Carson Seymour back up. I don't know what the plan is there. I don't know if they're going to actually start I know they said they're not planning to start him, but things could change quickly. So I kind of wonder if they're going to let him start a couple games. But Birdsong badly needs to go down and just get his command figured out, because I think it's a mechanical issue personally, and the ones that I think it's a mechanical issue at least initially, and then it's probably a bit mental as well now. But something's off. So there has been obviously some negatives here.
Sorry, the pup was getting upset. No, you're not wrong. I think Birdsong was probably the biggest one, but like Alex said, he'll figure it out. That he's too talented not to. Like you said, clearly it's something mechanical, and as a result of especially not even getting one out the other day, like it's going to affect the dude mentally. So I think going down to SAC for a few weeks will be good for him, just to try to get his mind right, sharpen his mechanics, and then come back up. In the meantime, I know they're saying it's still TBD as far as what they're going to do with his spot in the rotation. Personally, as much as I hate it, I think they're probably going to go to a bullpen game. It'll probably consist of something like you mentioned with, Seymour getting the start for 2-3 innings and then hand it over to someone like Jelly, depending on how the game's going. I'm not a fan of it, but that's probably what makes the most sense for the time being. But, it's still TBD. So, I mean, we'll see how that all works out. But no, bro, just going back to a lot of the positives that you said. The biggest thing that we've said for, probably since end of March is that if this offense can get, more than just 2 or 3 guys clicking at a time, they're going to be dangerous. Yeah, I tried not to laugh at
Love it, Nick.
Thanks, brother.
Appreciate you, bro.
We'll touch on that rumor too later. But no, we've been saying it for months, man. If the offense can get multiple guys clicking at the same time, they're going to be dangerous. And you saw a glimpse of that in the series against Atlanta. And then, like, Willie started out super, super cold, and he's been on fire lately. And same thing with Rafi. Started out super cold when he first came over, and then obviously he exploded the other day. So if you get those 2 guys who are most likely going to be your 3 and 4, or at least, you're somewhere in the middle of your lineup going, that's a threat. Yeah. And especially if you get Chappie going too, whether you're going to put him at the 2 or the 5, like we've been saying, I mean, he smacked that one opposite field, and that was just a gorgeous swing. If he can, have that consistently, might not happen with runners in scoring position, but if there's a guy on first, you better be damn sure he's going to make good contact. But no, dude, if you can get your core heated up at the same time, I mean, they have the talent to carry you into a wild card position. So, like he's touched on it, it's nice to see Bailey heat up. I give the guy probably the most heat out of everybody on Giants X, and even I give him props. So he's doing well. And then Casey as well. I don't know if that ball that he hit has landed yet. It's still flying. But just in general, it's interesting to see the team heat up a week before the deadline, or at least the offense start to click a week before the deadline. It's to be seen whether it's gonna, continue over these next two series. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of positives to take away. Negatives are mainly revolving around the pitching staff. But I think something else that's a positive we haven't touched on yet. It was nice to see JV finally get his first win. It was long overdue.
Yeah.
And I think he pitched great. Once he got out of that first inning, he pitched great.
Yeah.
You want to see more of that because especially with Birdsong gone now, you cannot afford to have another black hole in your pitching rotation. So
yeah, absolutely. The innings 2 through 5, he threw the ball really well, and it's a shame that it took 40 pitches to get out of the fifth. Probably could have gone a little deeper into that game had he not taken so many pitches to get out of that. But overall, still really solid outing. I am trying to find this meme I saw I think it might have been SF Giants memes. If I find it quickly, I'll bring it up.
Homie,
about I can't find it. It was a Chapman one because off of your comment where it's like, I might not do it with runners in scoring position, and it was like Chapman tonight. It was the other day where it was like bases loaded, he struck out, bases loaded, he struck out, and then with no one on, I think he hit one out, and it was like. And it was the Braveheart hold.
Yeah.
And then no one. And it was like, now.
It's so funny.
It just kills me, man. It's hilarious. Yeah, you guys all know we love Chapman. We just think he should be hitting second, not fourth. That's all.
Yeah.
But if Patrick Bailey hits 225, will he be eligible for comeback player of the year in the same season?
He came back to hitting his career average.
I mean, hey, I'd give him props at that point. Honestly, it'd be like, all right, dude.
The thing is obviously Cody on the left and Dan on the right. I was wondering, I was like, something's different tonight. There we go.
Here we go. I moved it earlier, and then I had to pull my camera off and bring it back up in the green room, and I forgot to switch it because it gets me too.
I was like, bro, I feel like the main character. It's a little weird tonight.
Yeah. Inconceivable.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall though, the team's in a good spot, regardless of how we felt about the last, week and a half prior to those, or the last week prior to the 2 games against Atlanta. They're not in a bad spot at all. They're not, they're 1 game out, and they're in the 4th spot as far as the wild card standings go. It's not like they have a bunch of teams in front of them. They're not even tied with any other teams. They're 1 game behind San Diego. They are, there is a bit of a gap though between Philadelphia and Chicago. Unfortunately for the Giants, Milwaukee's really been on a heater. Went and passed Chicago. Now Chicago and Philadelphia are pretty far out there. So, I mean, realistically, there's a chance they're kind of playing for that. They're playing for that 3rd wild card spot, but they're not behind, they're not trailing a bunch of people. They've got Cincinnati 1 game behind them. They've got St. Louis a game and a half behind them. Arizona just sold Josh Naylor, and supposedly they're going to sell 4 or 5 more players is kind of the rumor out there. So, we'll kind of have to see. It doesn't feel like, and Miami, even though they kind of took the Giants, to business a couple weeks ago, they're still 5 games back, and they've come back down to earth a bit. So, yeah, we're just going to have to kind of wait and see how this plays out. Sorry, this is also bugging me. My thing was mirrored. Just going to mess with everyone. The feng shui was way off in this video. But yeah, they're in a good spot. So, and that brings us to kind of the trade deadline talk. So there's the you know, the years past, the big thing for us has been it's pick a lane, you know. It's always been when it's gonna like our feelings on it. Either go in on winning or sell. And in the past, like they've not. And it's actually kind of funny because for me, like I look at where they're at and I'm not necessarily convinced this is the year to like push your chips in. Not to mention, I don't think there's really any players out there worth pushing your chips in. Um, there's not a Juan Soto on the market type player. There's not one of those guys like a superstar that's some team's going to trade with a year and a half, 2 years left, or year and a half or 2.5 years left. So I'm not sure this is the year that you really like push your chips in on your top prospects or anything like that. But also, like, even if they have a bad week, like you look at what the Giants have to sell, and I don't think it's the time that you would just dump like all your good players, like what you see Arizona doing. Now, granted, they're trading rentals. They're not trading guys with under contract for multiple years. So they're kind of in a tricky spot right now. So what are your kind of thoughts on this deadline coming up?
Yeah. So, firstly, like you kind of hinted at, our biggest gripe over the last couple of years was, having a sense of direction when it comes to the deadline, because under the prior regime, it was never definite or set in stone whether you're buying or selling. It was, we're going to kind of stand pat and make a couple of minor weird deals here and there. We're going to pick up a AJ Pollock type player, just to say that we did it. This year, like you mentioned, you're in a weird position because you're still in contention. Obviously, the big picture is going to be the West, which might be a little, I won't say impossible, but unlikely. So you're aiming for a wild card spot. So, like you mentioned, is it the year for you to, put all your eggs in one basket and just make a run for it? It's to be determined. And it kind of puts you in I wouldn't say a weird position, but it puts you in a, leaning more towards the win now mode when you make a deal like you do for Rafi Devers. So I think that was, kind of an emphasis as far as what Posey wanted to do going into the deadline. Now, obviously, hitting a skid like this and, now setting down Birdsong, and when you had Chappie get injured and Casey get injured, like little things like that, they might kind of, I wouldn't say slip you up as far as where your plans are concerned, but they might change things to an extent. So now you're in a position where you got a week till the deadline. And in my opinion, if you're able to find, like Miss B said, your Ross, Scudero, Pence, if you're able to find one of those, that's great. But we're a week away from the deadline and we still don't really know who's available. I mean, we've heard murmurs like, Naylor was a murmur and got moved. There's been a couple rumors around guys like, Luis Robert, Adolis Garcia. You've seen rumors about Adley Rushman come out of nowhere, like little just random names popping up here and there. So yeah, I think this upcoming series more than anything is going to kind of determine what you do more than the Pittsburgh one. Because if you take, a 3-game sweep against the Mets at home, you're going to ride that momentum into the deadline all day. Whereas if you get swept and that kills these last 2 games that you won and you just kind of fall back on your feet or on your face and go back into those old habits, then that's where you're kind of in a position where you're going to play Pittsburgh, going into the deadline, approaching that 500 mark, where then you make the decision to sell. And then if you are going to go and sell, I wouldn't necessarily sell top prospects. I would sell the guys that are in the last year of their deal, which we've kind of talked about that in the past. Wilmer Flores last year of his deal, Mike Yastrzemski last year of his deal. And that could be a blessing in disguise, essentially, because then you're freeing up playing time for some of your younger guys that you really want to get an extended look at. So there's really a couple different variables that are going to determine which direction you take. And that's really dependent on this upcoming series, in my opinion. So I don't think there's going to be a splash accusation that's going to go down. I've seen, some random accounts like on X that are saying, oh, there's a major deal that's about to go down. I don't buy that. I know a lot of you that were on X today probably saw it. I don't buy that at all. But I think if the Giants are going to make a move and they're going to buy, it's going to be like I've been talking about for weeks, something that elevates the floor of the team and maybe gets you a starting pitcher where you can solidify that number 5 spot in your rotation. Maybe a minor, left-handed relief pitcher type of move as well. They're going to be minor moves like that. It's not going to be anything splashy. And if you're going to sell, it's going to be something more along like the Yaz or Wilmer, where they're in the final year of their deal. You just want to get something for them before they walk. So I think those are going to be the two situations that we see coming over these next few days. But I really think it's going to be determined over the Mets series.
Yeah. And, and with that Mets series, like the Giants are lined up right now. You got Webb and Ray going the next 2 games. So you're kind of set up for success big time in that. As far as like, your point about what they should do, like, and if they want to look to buy or anything like that, I think the big one for me is they've got to get another starting pitcher.
Yes.
I've got Seth Lugo like circled, like in Sharpie, like highlighted and circled like that. To me, that would be ideal. I don't think he would cost an arm and a leg. We just saw what Josh Naylor fetched, which somebody mentioned it was the 13th and 16th based on MLB Pipeline. If you go off Baseball America, which is my personal preference, it was 13th and 19th ranked prospects on Baseball America.
Like you said, that's kind of like a Joe Whitman type of player.
Yeah, and I kind of did some digging on those pitchers and a bit, Whitman-esque caliber. The reality is their 13th ranked prospect is kind of the equivalent of our like 8th ranked prospect because their system is just significantly better.
No, for sure.
So it definitely wasn't like poor prospects that they sent back, but it gives you an idea. Like when it's a rental player, teams are no longer giving up top 100 prospects for rentals. They'll give you a couple of like middle tier prospects like they just did that are like good prospects, but not quite like the super toolsy, high ceiling, crazy guys. So I could see the Giants being able to pull off a deal for a guy like Lugo, who he is theoretically like he has a player option for next season. So there is some, it limits the value you're going to get back.
So hypothetically speaking, what are you giving up for Seth Lugo?
I don't know what necessarily Kansas City wants. I think I saw some rumors that they want some controllable outfielders. But I mean, if you told me that you could trade Grant McCray and like a Trevor McDonald or something like that, heck, I'd probably even consider like McCray and Whitman. Yeah. They're guys with upside, certainly. Like it's not like you're giving them nothing, but if that's what if that's what it takes to get a guy like that, where you feel like you have a legitimate shot this season, and then your top 3 are pretty well set for the rest of the season. And then Roop is a bit of a wild card because of his innings, but I would be happy to throw something like that their way. I don't think you can go with a Wisenhunt caliber prospect. I think that's going to be too much for a guy that's on a rental. But yeah, I would love to go get a guy like Seth Lugo. And then as far as the other side, the name that I keep kind of seeing, and I really would like to see them pull in would be like a Ramon Laureano. Baltimore is going to be selling. He's on a rental deal as well. I've seen O'Hearn, but I kind of would prefer a guy that hits right-handed. In this situation. Now, Laureano, frankly, he's playing like an everyday guy. Like to me, if you make that deal, you're moving Yaz or you're kicking Yaz into a 4th outfielder role. Or, Ramos might DH. Like they might hit a point where they're, put Ramos at the DH and then have Laureano play left. I mean, it gives you kind of some options there, but you're making that move like that. To me, if you could somehow make those 2 moves, like you just improved your lineup a little bit and you just improved your starting pitching significantly, honestly. And you're just in a good spot the rest of the way. I mean, you're not going to be necessarily the favorite, but you can make those moves without gutting your system.
The thing that, you got to take into consideration, because while I fully agree a guy like, Ramon Laureano or a Ryan O'Hearn, those would be great moves. You got to think about, okay, what's going to be the corresponding moves as far as your everyday lineup is concerned? Because, a lot of Giants fans were saying, oh, we should have made a trade for Naylor. It's like, okay, you bring Naylor onto this team. you got a huge congestion between the first base and DH roles, between Devers, Wilmer, Dom Smith, and then you bring a Naylor in. Same thing if you bring in a guy like O'Hearn. There's got to be a corresponding move to free up some space. Now, I know Devers said he liked playing first. Great. We're going to have a platoon at, DH between Dom Smith and Wilmer and O'Hearn, or who's going to get dropped from there? Or you're going to play your best defender, which is probably Smith at first, and then you got to have Devers in your lineup on a regular basis. Now you're left-handed heavy, and you bring in a guy like O'Hearn, you're just going to clog that up even more. Then what do you do with Wilmer? Like, there's a whole bunch of little, snowball effects that would kind of go down with bringing in a guy that's going to fill in like a first base or DH role. And then the same can be said about the outfield. I know a lot of fans have mentioned, it'd be cool to get a Garcia or get a Robert or get a Laureano. It's like, okay, great, cool. You're going to do that. Then what do you do with the corner outfield? Because then you got a Yaz and Matos situation. You send Matos down, but then a guy like Robert, Garcia, or Laureano is obviously going to be the better player. You're going to want to play them over Yaz. Then it kind of turns into, again, what are you going to do with the corresponding moves? So in my opinion, freeing yourself up of, a Yaz or dropping him to a fourth outfield position or role in the team and then fill in that gap with, a player of Laureano's caliber, for example, would be a great decision if you're trying to go all in for the season. So there's a few things you got to take into consideration if you're going to make a move such as that. Now, a name that has been floated around as a possibility, which you would love to see, I would love to see, pretty sure 99% of the chat would love to see, is Stephen Kwan. But apparently there's been mixed, reviews as far as like insiders are concerned. They're saying, okay, they're going to listen to offers for Kwan. Some are saying, no, Kwan's untouchable. But bro, if you can bring in a Stephen Kwan, he is the epitome of what you want in a Giants player. He's the definition of what you want out of a Giant. Great defender, great arm, drives it in the gap, solid speed. I mean, that's what you want in an everyday player. And that would just elevate this team so much. But what are the possibilities of landing him? Slim to none, in my opinion. And what is he going to cost? An arm and a leg? He's got a team-friendly deal and is under control, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he has 2.5 more years on his contract. If I'm not mistaken here, I think he's got 2 more, might be arbitration years.
Yeah. Regardless, he's got at least a couple years of control.
Which he's only making 4.1 mil.
Exactly, bro.
So that number will probably get doubled next season. But you're looking at
that's a steal.
Like $20 million over the next 2 years, maybe like 25 tops.
You're paying Mike Yastrzemski $10 million this year alone.
Yeah, I mean, it's an absolute steal. Now the problem is, what do you give up? And I know, like Jen says, you could trade Ramos for Kwan. Like, to me, you can't, though. That's the problem. Yeah. Like, Ramos is actually a more impactful overall hitter, like, at the end of the day. The problem is you need a Stephen Kwan in this lineup, but if you're sacrificing an Elliot Ramos to do it,
then you're going to need an Elliot Ramos.
Yeah, then you need a thumper that actually consistently makes adjustments. Like, I love Matt Chapman. I love Willie Adames. I love, Rafi Devers is in his own universe when he's hit.
Oh, yeah.
But, I love these guys, but Elliot Ramos, between the three of those, is the one that consistently hits for the highest average. And he's the one that consistently, time and time again, he'll go through his cold streaks, and his cold streaks don't last 3 months. He makes an adjustment. He gets hot again. And, then the league adjusts, and he's just always playing the game of chess with pitchers where it's, he gets in a little bit of a cold streak, then he gets hot. He'll maintain that for 3 or 4 weeks. And sometimes it's a little in between, but I love the fact that his cold streaks don't last 2-3 months. Yeah. Like, he consistently adjusts back, and I don't think you can give that up. Not to mention, until this season, he was not a bad defender in a corner. So I'm not going to sit here and defend the way he's defended this season. I'm not going to sit there and try and say he's good defensively, but I don't think it's the time to just go, yeah, he'll never turn this back around. He'll never go back to being an average defender. He's not, he's a lost cause out there. As bad as it looks, like, I do think he can fix a lot of that. So I don't think that's the move. Now, that said, can you even make the trade for Kwan? I do think they could. I think it's going to be tough though, because they're not going to be the only team that wants him if Steven Kwan's available. And there's a lot of teams with just simply better systems. Now, the Giants do have high ceiling, really good prospects. They're not necessarily appropriately ranked yet with like the major publishers. I could go on and on about that. Y'all have heard me go on and on about that. But they do have guys that I guarantee you other teams would really like. Like, no one can tell me that the Cleveland Guardians wouldn't like Dakota Jordan or Bo Davidson or Johnny Level or Joshua Gonzalez. Like, these are, well, Joshua is now top 100, but these are guys that aren't necessarily ranked top 100, but they are very good prospects that I think are going to be within the next year or so. But that said, could you get that deal done without Bryce? Like this is the one I think a lot of people are like, okay, would you trade Bryce Eldridge for Steven Kwan? And for me, it's a no. And it's not because Steven Kwan isn't like the caliber of player that I necessarily I would trade Bryce Eldridge for. My issue with Kwan is his entire, he's a great defender, obviously, but in the box on the offensive side where the Giants have severely lacked the production, his entire calling card is average, is hit for average. And it's great. We need a guy like that. But I look at the side with Bryce, and he may or may not end up being a star. Obviously, it's a huge risk. But we've watched the Giants for the last 25 or so years. Other than Barry from the left side, they have not been able to draft a single player this century that has the kind of left-handed power that Bryce Eldridge has.
Yeah.
And that is something that they've proven they can't even acquire. And when I say that, I mean he has legit 40+ homer power. Doesn't mean he's going to do it, but that's the power he has. You got Devers, whose career high is 38, but really every year he's kind of like high 20s, low 30s. So it's like, it's something that they've proven they can't acquire. So I would rather take the shot on him, because if they can get that guy, it changes everything going forward. So I think it gets tough to accomplish that deal. As much as I'd really love to have Steven Kwan here, I'm not sure they could without including Bryce.
Yeah, I think he'll be too expensive.
10 to 20 steals a year, which if he was a burner, like if he was 30, 40 steals a year, I'd probably feel a little different.
Yeah, agreed. Speed's solid, but it's not, it's not otherworldly. But yeah, dude, it's like when it comes down to it, if they decide to sell and make Steven Kwan available, I think there's going to be a bidding war for him, and I think the Giants will get outbid, plain and simple. Now, I know Buster did, talk with Susan Slusser today, and, he basically hinted at he'll listen to any team about anyone, and as far as that's on the team and in the system. I don't necessarily think he was referring to Bryce, like you and I kind of talked about privately. I think it was more so directed towards Wiz, but just in general, when it comes down to it, if Kwan is available, I think there will be a bidding war to an extent, and I do not think the Giants have the ammunition, or I should say will go forward as far as making the offer with the ammunition that they do have. I just can't see them gutting their system after it being near the bottom of bottoms for the last couple years and now slowly creeping up into the low 20s. I can't see them, going all out like that.
Yeah. Honestly, this is, and even Acuna, it's like, it's a really hold your breath and plug your nose and make the deal because of the injury history. Like, I struggle with that big time, but I mean, it's Acuna. Like, if he's healthy, you're like,
yeah.
If he's healthy, he's like the only guy that can win an MVP over Shohei Ohtani in the next couple of years, it feels like. So, yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at. And like I said, the reason is for me strictly because of how impossible it is for the Giants to acquire that kind of power out of the left side. Like that's just really what it is.
That's something they got to covet.
Yeah,
100%. Because like you mentioned, you can't let that just go to waste, especially when he's knocking on the door of the show.
Yeah,
I mean, you've been searching for that left-handed power bat for 20 years. Now it's here. It's just, are you really going to trade it? And with this comment, Nick, that kind of ties back into what I was mentioning with the Slessor article. She asked Posey straight up about Luciano, and Posey, was raving about his power against left-handed pitchers and said, that's a weakness that we've had on the offense this year. So we'll see. I think it's an interesting comment a week before the deadline because it's kind of make or break with Luciano. If you are going to trade him, this is the time to, in my opinion. I know technically you can probably work someone out in the offseason, but he's all out of, option years if you bring him up. So it's make or break in decision time with Marco Luciano. So his value, it's definitely shot compared to years past. I know Cody, Ricky, and I have all said how we wish he would have got traded when his value was higher. You probably could have got a freaking stud for him. Instead, his development was essentially wasted, but we're not going to dive into that. But yeah, this is the time where you figure out what are you going to do with Marco Luciano, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you either got to play him up here a little bit at some point, or you're going to have to just let him sit down in AAA, play the whole year down there, and then you go into the next training camp or next spring training, and if they don't acquire a right fielder or another outfielder, you might just be looking at Marco, Grant McCray, and Luis and being like, all right, someone go win the job. Like you guys have an opportunity, and if you all fall on your face, and we'll just be looking at replacements in 2 months. But yeah, it's pretty tough because if you don't get him, you're going to get a Austin Strickland type for him when you trade him in spring training, like if you don't move him now. So, and that's, for anyone that's wondering, that's who they got for Joey Bart when Bart was out of options. So you're going to get something like that. And
in Strickland's defense, a lot of our homies in San Jose and whatnot, they're friends with him. He's a cool guy. So.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's terrible or anything.
But no, like you said, it's a prime example of wasting a player's talent or value, I should say.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. I mean, nobody in their right mind is going to say that the Giants got the better end of that trade with a guy that wasn't even on a team's top 30 list. That is just kind of a sort of intriguing arm, and he's in the lower minors, and they gave up a guy that's been starting for Pittsburgh for much of the year. So yeah, that's just what's going to end up happening with Luciano if you end up not moving him now. So it's kind of a tough situation. I know I've talked with people in the past, like the whole clock that you have to start or to add guys to the 40 man. It's really unfortunate with guys that are, especially in the international side, that you signed at 16 years old, because I think you have like 5 years, and I would love to see it be like 6 for those guys, because it's hard. I mean, they had to add him at 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to play his age 21, 22 now, and 23 seasons as a on the 40 man, and now he's going to be out of options at 24 years old, and they're going to have to give up on a guy probably that might hit 30 home runs in the minors. So it's this season. So it sucks. Like it's no nice way to put it, but the rest of the league is in the same boat at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, again, I can go off on a 30-minute rant about Luciano's development and prior regime, but it's not worth going in about. Just moral of the story. I mean, if you want to deal him, that's the time to do it, but you really just gotta, decide what you want to do going into this deadline. And I think Posey and Co. they have a general idea as far as what their game plan is going to be. I know Maniason's been open about it, saying how they're going to be, quote unquote, involved and on the phones and whatnot. So yeah, it'll just be interesting to see how it all plays out. Again, we still don't really know who's all going to be available, but you saw the first domino fall tonight. So I think in the coming days, you're going to see a lot more deals, and hopefully we're involved in those so we can have a really fun live show next week.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really nice. Like even last year, we looked at. I look back at last year's live that we did right after or before the deadline, whatever it was, and they made a couple trades. It was cool. Like they had the Cobb deal and they had the Jorge Soler deal.
Can I just say I love the Cobb deal so much now, a year later?
Yeah, we are a show that will always give credit where due, even if we didn't like Farhan as a Pobo with the org. Like that was a freaking steal. Getting Jacob Bresnahan like that, I will give him his flowers for that one. That was a good deal. So for a guy that had pitched a single inning for the Giants in the season,
the MLB Pipeline's new prospect, where was Brezzy on there? Was it 9?
I don't know. Yeah, he might have been up in the top 10. I know BA has him at 16. And you know what? I look at Baseball American overall. I prefer them, but like they don't do a lot of shuffling. I feel like on the bottom tier of play, like the bottom end of the top 10, unless guys are like massively succeeding or the other way. Like in like Sabine Ceballos territory. You don't see a ton of movement, but yeah, I mean, like right now, Bresnahan, they have him at 16, and I see McDonald, Black, McRae, Crawford, all those guys ahead of him. Like to me, I'd easily have them ahead of them personally, but
I mean, you dealt a 36-year-old Alex Cobb, a broken Alex Cobb for, now a top 10 to 15 prospect, and he's in the low minors, and he's a friend of the show. I mean, that's a great deal, in my opinion. Did Cody say he loves Farhan? He tells me that every day. He texts me.
Yeah. I have the someone pull out the Wolverine meme with the photo. He's like, put Farhan, Photoshop my face on it, put Farhan on it. I'm sure if Ricky's watching right now, we're gonna be getting a text here in about 10 minutes of that.
I'll say either Ricky or Nick, one of you guys do it.
It would track. But yeah, so I'm gonna actually pull up Baseball America's top 30 here really quick because
do it.
I'm gonna kind of, when we're talking about making these trades, like I mentioned earlier, I kind of alluded to this. Like I said, I don't think this is the year that you necessarily push the chips in, and I'll kind of talk my way through some of this. So I have essentially 8 guys that I am not a fan of moving this season, unless it's like perfect situation where a star that we maybe didn't think about is available, and we didn't necessarily have him on our radar right now. But right now, Bryce Eldridge, Joshua Gonzalez, I actually would be willing to move Carson in the right deal. I think of your top guys, if you can move one, like that's probably the guy I would look at.
Yeah, I wouldn't move Bo or Johnny, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would not move either of these two. Gavin, I don't think you're going to be able to really trade for significant value right now. Anyway, I'm not even sure. I remember there were some weird rules about trading guys that you just signed anyway, out of the draft. So I'm not sure they can even move him. So I'll just take him off anyway. Dakota Jordan, and the last couple are Heinous Kayama and Jacob Bresnahan. And the reason I have these 8 players listed out is because, number one, I think these are your highest ceiling players. Like these are the guys with the most star upside in your system. And number two, in the case of guys like Argenis Kayama, Dakota Jordan, Bo Davidson, Johnny Level, Jacob Bresnahan, especially those ones, I don't think their value is what it's going to be in a year. So to me, and yes, I will own it. Like that could theoretically swing the other way. They could just tank and all of a sudden they have no value. But also, to me, they have big arrow ups going right now. They're on a big upward trajectory. And I feel like if you wait even another year, these guys are going to have significantly more value. So I don't think it's the time yet, because I don't see a bunch of other guys in your system that are going to like take those guys' place as far as caliber prospect.
And then to that point, a few of those guys you just mentioned, Bo, Level, Dakota, especially those 3 in particular, they can be in the top 100 next year. So even if you were looking to deal them, you're going to get more for them if all goes well. You'll get a lot more for them next year. I mean, now you and I, we obviously wouldn't deal either of those three, but if the team was looking to, this isn't the time to do so because their value is minuscule compared to what it'll be 10 months from now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, Nick. I'm pretty sure it's the off season.
Yeah.
Exactly. I do think, yeah, I do think that we're looking at guys that are going to be top 100 here in the not too distant future. I know everybody's down on the Giants system. I disagree with that. I posted it, I think, a couple days ago. I do believe they have 5 top 100 caliber position player prospects right now. And I think there's probably 2, pitchers that are top 100 caliber. Carson Whisenhunt used to be. I don't think he'll ever make it back into that list. I think he'll end up in the majors and before that ever happens. But with, like I said, with Kayama and Bresnahan, I think they've got 2, and there might even be more. You look at guys like Keener Martinez, who's throwing 95-mile-an-hour sink with a nasty slider. Same with Kayama, who has kind of the same pitch mix, but he's 18. You look at some of those guys that if they have really a ton of success in the lower levels, they've got the stuff that they might get ranked up pretty high. So there's upside in this system. There really is. I just think because of the levels that a lot of these guys are in, we're about a year from really being able to, enjoy the fruits of that.
Yeah, and that kind of goes hand in hand with what I was saying, and to Daniel's point, that's saying all goes well. I mean, the guys end the season on a strong note. They're absolutely going to skyrocket on the as far as the rankings are concerned, and that's what you're hoping for. And so far, what we've seen through these first 3 months of the year, it's looking that way.
Absolutely.
And Isaac, don't get me started on the Ike Irish talk. We went through this. I needed to see a therapist for a couple weeks, but we're good now.
Yeah.
But I'm the president, CEO, founder, and co-founder of the Ike Irish fan club.
Yeah. That hurt.
That hurt.
I like Keelan as a player. It's like I said in that live show, it was no knock on Keelan as a player. It's not that we think he stinks. We just don't like the draft philosophy on the whole for day one, where they went kind of the safe route with both picks. I'm just not a believer in that. That's just my own feelings.
I have no issue against Gavin. I think he's got tools to be a solid player. It's just like it's like Cody said. I couldn't understand the whole philosophy as far as the underslot in their first 2 picks and the second pick especially. That one was the one that drove me crazy. But we're not going to dive in on that.
Oh yeah, the I said it then. If they would have taken a Dakota Jordan type with the 3rd round pick, I'd have just sung their praises, even for the Keelan pick. It's like that's what you do in that situation. It's just not going that route that we were baffled. San Fran fan says Eldridge struggled in the outfield when they tried him there, but he could still move back. He just needs the reps. Bat is way ahead of the glove, mostly because he was a starting pitcher DH in high school. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, all this position talk for Bryce Eldridge, we could just let him start again.
He could probably he can probably get you 3 solid innings.
Yeah.
At least get an out.
He was the American Ohtani when they drafted him.
He was.
The funny thing with him is he had a 2nd round grade on his arm. Like, it's not like they drafted.
Yeah, he was not a fluke, bro.
Yeah, this isn't Reggie Crawford, who had like a 1st round grade on his arm, but like a barely get drafted grade on his bat.
I think one of my autos of him is on the mound. Crazy enough.
Nice. Yeah.
Keeping that.
I do think with the Devers development, where he's kind of made it clear that he prefers to be in the field, which is fine. I totally get that mindset. I think a lot of players have that mindset. But I do think it makes it interesting with Bryce. I think my personal belief is that you get him reps both in left field and first base, and you just need him to not be a butcher out there. Like, you just need him to be playable, because if an injury happens or something, Elliot Ramos has something happen where he's, he doesn't feel like he can go out and play the field, but he can still swing it, or Devers has something like he's been dealing with a groin and back injury where maybe he doesn't play a lot of first base. I think you need to be able to have Eldridge go out there and play a position occasionally, or if you just need to give one of those guys a day off in the field, to give them one of their days off, to keep him fresh. Like I just want him to be able to play a couple positions, but if he needs to DH primarily, I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, he's 20 years old, he can't be a full-time DH. Like, you're right, he can't be a full-time DH in AAA, but if his bat is ready to contribute in the major leagues, and they've already said that as soon as his bat is ready, he's going to be up, then fine, I can live with it. Just keep working with him.
Yeah, see, I lean more towards that and what Nick is also saying. If it's me, I'm having a timeshare with Bryce and Ramos and left, for example, and Bryce and Devers at first and DH. Like, Devers needs a day off from first, plug him at DH, slide Bryce into the first base role, throw Ramos in left, or vice versa. You throw Bryce in left, Ramos in the DH, Devers at first. I mean, you can kind of mix it up with those three like that. That's the way I would do it. It keeps everyone fresh, gets everyone, time in the field, which, as you can see with Rafi, that does wonders when it comes to hitting, gets you more engaged and locked in with the game. So I would do something like that. The only thing is that you're taking away a lot of defense. I mean, you're not going to get great defense out of left, whether you got Ramos or Bryce, and you're not going to get great defense at first, whether you got Bryce or Devers. So you are going to take a little bit from defense, but I think the good will probably outweigh the bad, because if all three are hitting, I mean, that's a nightmare for any opposing team. But in my opinion, it's a good problem to have. If you've got too many great hitters and you're trying to find places on the field to play them on a daily basis, that's an ideal problem that you want to have.
Yeah.
So, we'll just let that play out, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? The reality is this team won a World Series playing Pat Burrell in left field.
Aubrey Huff.
They won a World Series in a year where Aubrey Huff and Belt took reps in left field. They won a World Series with Michael Morse playing left field most of the games. Now, granted, in the playoffs, they went away from that, but they won 3 World Series where very, very below average defensive left fielders played for them. So,
correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Ishikawa play?
Yeah, Ishikawa was taking reps in left field.
Yeah. See, if you can just be an okay defender and come through with a clutch bat, you're going to be all right. Xavier Nady, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah. You know the one that I always forget played for them? I feel like it was one of those World Series runs. He wasn't on the team, I think, in the playoffs, but Jeff Francoeur. Dude, I remember being excited when we traded for him. I was like, okay, we got Francoeur. And then you just don't really remember, dude.
Didn't
he win the Rookie of the Year?
He did.
And he got I think he was on Sports Illustrated or some, or ESPN, and he was like the natural or something. It was
dude, he was good.
So bad.
He was good.
He fell off a cliff so hard.
I don't know what happened, but he was good for a minute.
Yeah, it's brutal.
I just remember being hyped about the Dan Ugla deal, the Casey McGee deal. Oh God, Ruben Rivera. Yeah, we had a few deals like that where I was excited about, and clearly looking back, not the brightest days.
Ruben Rivera. I hear he's coaching the Giants base running nowadays.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I heard he took Tyler Fitzgerald under his wing.
Man. And Nick's talking about Reed Worley, their 9th round pick. Actually, that might be my favorite pick in this draft.
I like that. Yeah, I like that pick.
And that's the one thing. We didn't do a show following it. We did the we did the live show for the
day one, yeah.
Day one, but we didn't do a day two. And I will say this, there were some day two picks that I really liked. I liked the Cam Maldonado, and I liked the Reed Worley especially. I like getting Rod Barajas Jr. in there, which that kind of made me feel super old, but
same, bro. When Ricky sent us that, I was like, "You're kid, bro.
Stop it. Just stop it." But yeah, I especially Worley, high school kid throwing mid-90s with a slider that gets like 3,000 plus RPMs. Like, it's already one of the highest, like, sharpest breakers in the game.
I showed you guys his pitch grip.
Oh yeah, his grip is weird, and I'm like, hey, that's the exact kind of guy you take with your 9 round.
Yeah,
high school kid with some stuff, and just see what happens. So, probably should have gone. I'm guessing he had signability issues because he probably should have gone earlier.
That's what Ricky was saying.
So, maybe it was like a 5th or 6th rounder that fell to them. So, those are the kinds of picks I like. So,
amen to that.
Yeah.
What's up, Anthony?
Yeah, what's up, man? That's all we really had to talk about today. If anybody's got any topics they want us to jump through, definitely shoot it in the chat. We don't need to necessarily drag this on for an hour and a half like most weeks. If
just straight to the point. I'm surprised, chat. I'm surprised you guys haven't talked about, the big news on Giants X that I won't say I'm responsible for it, but Cody and Nick might say I am. There's a lot of Adley Rushman chatter if you guys go on there, and that might be because of me. Congrats to forever Giant Nick Ahmed on his retirement. Yeah, his quadruple XL helmet will be missed. Morcana says 24-hour show. Heck no.
Dude, I would die. Wait. Nick Ahmed, he retired in honor of Nick Ahmed retiring.
Oh God, I know what you're gonna do. I know what he's gonna. I knew it. I knew it.
Had to know it was coming.
Addy, you saw that? Yeah. That blew up. I got a bunch of hate for that, but that was funny.
Yeah. Yeah, the Dan threw a nice little chaos grenade into Giants X. Talking about
I don't get it.
I don't know how you have 200 followers and you get so much like high.
I couldn't tell you, bro.
You get like so many high engagement posts with 200 followers where you get like 700 likes and it's not 100,000 people see it.
And I'm not even like trying to be cocky or anything, but it's not like once every few months. It's like once a week. And I'm like, dude, all I am is just talking smack and trolling. That's why I put professional troll on my tag today.
Yeah.
Dan is cool breeze. That's why. Thanks, bro. Dan will mess around. Thanks, Marcadna. Appreciate that, guys. What's your Adley take? Is he an upgrade over Bailey? Okay, so I'm going to put it this way, and this is what I told our group chat earlier. Bailey is a better catcher than Rushman. Rushman is a better player than Bailey. And if it's me, I want to take the better player every day of the week. So that's just how I view that.
I'll give my thoughts on that really quick after I do my last, my last tribute to Nick Ahmed. Still my favorite tweet I've ever sent out.
Oh, that one was legendary. Hold up. Yeah, that was a perfect tweet.
This is after they dumped Nick Ahmed and he went to LA and he hit a game-winning home run against the Giants.
That was perfect. Yeah, that was my favorite. Funny. Hang on, I want to read these really quick. Dan, just be starting shit for the vibes. You're not wrong. Dan gives I give main character energy. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate that. Well, let's hear your thoughts on the Rushman Bailey talk.
Yeah, so my thoughts on the Adley Rushman Bailey talk. Like, Bailey is an undeniably better defender right now. Like, no one's gonna argue that at this point. Like, he's the best defensive catcher in baseball. Does he have some lazy tendencies that that piss me off or Dan off and some other people. Absolutely. Like I don't love his hand placement with his right hand. He's taken too many foul balls off it. I don't like that he doesn't always drop down to block pitches that he can. I'm not talking about stuff that's like way off to the side that he's just throwing the glove at and praying, but he's the best defensive catcher in today's game. That said, he's gone on a pretty solid hot streak here for the last couple of weeks, and it's gotten his, if you want to look at WRC plus, OPS plus, whatever, any of those things, he's still like 40% worse than league average offensively. And you look at a guy like Adley Rutschman, who's having by far the worst year of his career. Like, he's having a horrible year by his standards, and he's still just barely below a league average bat. I think he's at like 96. So his floor is still 30+% better offensively than Patrick Bailey. And there's a lot of reason to believe that Adley Rutschman can go back to being a 15-20% better than league average bat. Now, is he ever going to win another Gold Glove? I believe he did win one. Probably not. Yeah, I think he won one like his second year, maybe. Might have been his rookie year. I don't remember. But is he going to win another Gold Glove? Probably not. But I do think that he could get back to being just a little bit above average defensively. And if you can give me a little bit above average defensive catcher that's also, maybe he gets back to being like a 75th percentile of catchers offensively. Like, that is a very well-rounded player that I would take every day over what Bailey has given them. So that's
Amen, brother.
where I stand. I don't think Bailey has the track record of hitting that we can safely sit there and go, well, we think he'll be an 80 to 90 WRC plus. Like, he doesn't have that track record. He's been up for a little over 2 years now, 2 full years. And he's had like 2 or 3 hot months out of maybe 13.
And that includes this month.
And in those 13 months, or the other months that he wasn't hot, it's not like he was just kind of had an average okay month. Like, he was unplayable. Like, that's the problem. Yeah. And so I would do that deal. If you called Baltimore and they said, hey, we'll take Bailey and like Wisenhunt back, and I know that a lot of people wouldn't like that, but I'd do it. I mean, here's something for everybody. Adley Rutschman is only 1 year older than Patrick Bailey.
Yeah.
It's not like you're trading for a 30-year-old here. So I'd do it, but that's me.
Bake That Dose says, how would you grade Bailey and Gapper's 2080 Birder scale?
No comment. I don't want to piss everyone off and get a bunch of unfollows again or unsubscribes.
Yeah, I don't know who he pissed off earlier in the week, but this is probably a good time to let everyone know that we're pushing almost 300 viewers in here tonight, and it's been consistent the whole time. So we appreciate it. Chat's been popping. We appreciate the engagement. If you're on X, hop over to YouTube. Drop a follow on X if you're watching there. Drop a like on YouTube if you're here. Subscribe, notification bell, whatever. We appreciate that. Hey, look at this. Thank you. Great name. If you know, you know. But no, we appreciate all the engagement tonight. It's been popping.
Yeah, this has been one of our favorites in a while. You guys are all hopping in here. Lots of comments. Definitely keep throwing stuff in there. Isaac says, give the Orioles Bailey, Rainer Arias, Wisenhunt for Adley, O'Hearn.
Shoot, I'm doing that all day.
I would walk down to California and take all 3 of those guys to the airport if you could get that deal done.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely, but probably not. Unfortunately, I don't think they would take that deal. But any pitchers? Anthony says, any pitchers you like?
Lugo.
I brought up
Lugo.
I brought up Lugo earlier. He's my personal favorite as far as guys I should target. There are some other ones out there. Mitch Keller would be interesting, although I'm not a fan of the contract.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys that we really liked before the year, guys like Freddie Peralta, I just don't think he's going to get dealt. I saw, I think maybe it was Jeff Passan mentioned like Zach Littell.
I don't know about
I'm
that.
not sure where. I'm not sure where Tampa is in the standings right now. Hold on. I know someone else in the chat mentioned Edward Cabrera. I would take that guy in a New York minute. Like, that guy is so nasty. Like, his stuff is so gross. And if you could get him, I would do it. I don't think he's going to be on the. I think he's got a couple more or at least another year, and I'm not sure Miami would trade him right this second.
Mm-hmm.
But if they would, I'd do it.
Other name you heard floated around was Sandy Alcantara. For how much he's going to cost, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
If they're giving him away, sure, come on over. But yeah, he'd probably be a little too expensive for that ERA.
Okay, Tampa is 53-50, and they are 1.5 out of the wild card.
Yeah,
dude, Boston's in the wild card.
Yeah, dude, they went on a heater.
I know they did, but I for some reason I thought they were like so far back when it happened that I thought they were still trailing a bit.
They've still been on a heater.
Yeah, good for them.
I don't know what got into them. If they don't want, why can't I think of his name? Who's their outfielder?
Duran.
No, not Duran. The one they just called up.
Abreu. Oh, the one they just called up. Roman Anthony.
If they don't want him, we'll take him. I'll give you Yaz and Wilmer for him. Come on, that's intriguing right there.
I'll even throw Wade Meckler in there. You know,
take a Tom Murphy too.
You guys can have spectacles, and we'll take Anthony. Oh man,
we're just joking, guys. We're just joking. I know somebody's gonna see this and be like, "Those idiots."
Yeah, listen to what they suggest. They'll cut out just that part.
Yeah,
no context. Yeah, the other name that I saw floated out there, I'm not sure he's really, gonna get dealt, was Joe Ryan. And if he does get dealt, I don't think the Giants are going to have the ammunition to get him.
I agree.
I'd love getting that guy in here. That guy would be an absolute front end starter. But I'm not sure they could pull that one off. That's going to be expensive.
Yeah, too much, man.
So.
Does Tom Murphy even exist anymore? Only in my nightmares, Kyle.
Hey, he's got 2 hits as a Giant.
One went on the Green Monster. Remember that?
Yeah, he had a freaking tank in Boston. I'll give him that. That ball was just nuked. Did he have more than 2 hits? I feel like he only had 2 hits. Maybe he had more.
Dude's so irrelevant. I don't know. All I know is he had more. He had more bounces on one throw to second than he had hits total in his Giants career.
If you I'll try and pull it up, but if you looked at like all his throws to second base over the last season in spring training, I'm pretty sure it would look something like this.
Addie, I just want to say she's on the verge of blocking me from hearing these names so much. And don't forget Wilmer and Yaz. I have to pay her extra when I talk about those two.
Oh, I can't find it.
Do the White Sox have anything interesting on their roster outside of Robert? Yeah, Austin Slater.
They really don't.
Just kidding.
Mike Tauchman.
Dude, he's been on fire lately.
I'm serious. Like, he's like the one other decent player that they can move.
I like Tauchman.
Yeah, that's probably the only other guy.
Did he, Nick? He hit 2 home runs against Oakland, the exhibition. I don't remember that. I try to forget those days. They were not pleasant. And nothing in particular, just watching Tom Murphy in the lineup, it's not pleasant.
Yeah.
Is Ryan McMahon on this trade block? I don't know. I know Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is, and the Giants are supposedly interested. I don't really know where you're going to play him, but he's one of those, like I've said, improving the floor of the bench.
Yeah.
Miguel Vargas, that
Is he still of LA?
is he?
Or am I thinking someone? I might be thinking of.
You might be thinking.
Oh no,
Someone.
no. With I was thinking of the other. There's who am I thinking? Oh, it might be Rojas.
Rojas.
Yeah, I was like, wait, isn't? Yeah, no, different player. Okay, what I was trying to find Rube Baker when he throws back to the pitcher in Major League Two when he
Yeah.
can't. And it's like spring training, and there's just freaking balls everywhere between the mound and second
Yeah.
base and center field. There's just everywhere, and I'm like, that's Tom Murphy's spray chart to second
Absolutely.
base. Just so bad.
Is Brent Rooker a possibility? That name. I'll put it this way. No.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Susan Slesser liked to throw that out there, that hypothetical, for whatever reason. They asked Brent Rooker straight up about it, I think either today or yesterday. And he was just like, I'm not getting traded.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
So no.
I'll expand on that. Hell
go
no.
for it. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yeah, no. I'd love Rooker, but it's also a ton more. It's another DH or DH type.
Grant asked if the Ha-Seong Kim rumors will finally come to fruition. I mean, I wouldn't mind Ha-Seong Kim. I can't see that going down.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think it's not like he's really doing much. He's hitting 226. He's been.
I don't know why that made me laugh.
I mean, yeah, Kim's not really hitting much, and now he's dealing with a back injury. I don't see him getting moved. I think the Giants are gonna ride it out with Casey. Like, I really do.
Dude, he's been great defensively.
He has. I mean, the metrics don't necessarily love him, but screw the metrics. Like,
he's been great, man.
He hasn't misplayed a single ball, I feel like, at second base since he's taken over full time there.
Yeah.
I think he might have had a throw go a bit wide on a play where they were trying to turn two and he couldn't step into it, and he tried to uncork flat-footed, and I think it like went wide, but it might have been Dom caught it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only play I've seen. He threw a guy out in the Atlanta game the other day. Was it Atlanta? It was Atlanta. It was the Atlanta game. He threw a dude out from kind of over by the first baseline. He's been pretty, very sure-handed. I think they're going to just roll it out with him and just see what they've got.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I agree. I think it makes too much sense, and he's got too much upside on, both defensively and with the bat. Can I address this really quick? With Devers as a long-term first base, Eldridge is tradable. Guys, Rafael Devers has played one game at first base in his entire life. I think we all need to just kind of take it easy. Let's just take it. He's played one game in his entire life, and he's 28 years old. So, is it possible? Sure, anything's possible. But they are not going to trade Eldridge, in the next week when Devers has played one game at first base.
Yeah,
plain and simple.
No. And you know what? In a perfect world, you get both those guys in your lineup.
Exactly. Worry about where to play them later.
Yeah.
If you get, sorry to cut you off, if you get Rafael Devers and Bryce Eldridge in the same lineup, you have two of the most powerful left-handed bats in all of baseball complementing each other in the same lineup. I could give a rat's ass where they're playing. You keep that threat in your lineup at all times. You want to scare LA? That's how you do it. Plain and simple, man.
Yeah. Hey, LDA, earlier we even mentioned we don't care if Eldridge DH is primarily. I really don't. Just make sure he at least can play first and can play left. That way he can fill in. You give him a day. Devers can take a day off in the field every week. You could give Ramos a day off in the field every week and just mix him in occasionally and have him DH.
I don't care if Bryce Eldridge dresses up as loose seal in between innings. Like you get him on that line, you get him on that field as many times as you can, or you get him in the lineup as often as possible. I want both of them in the same lineup, plain and simple.
Yeah. And with Eldridge's history, I think he probably would be more comfortable as a DH relative to like Devers. Devers was a third baseman, obviously, for a lot of years, and he played the field all the time. Eldridge being a pitcher / DH in school for the most part, like I think he's more comfortable in that.
No, for sure.
So who cares if he hits? He hits. That's all we care about. Like at the end of the day, guy could be the worst defender in the history of the game, and I would not care. Just throw him in DH and just let him hit, because Giants just need that right now. They need guys that can hit because they need to score, and they can't. Like that's been a problem all season. Now, the last 5 games, I think they've actually scored decently. Last 4 games, they went like 6 runs, 5 runs, 9 runs, 9 runs. So maybe they're turning it around, but tired of them not scoring.
No, I'm into that. Adi asked if we think that Eldridge will be better than Kurtz or about the same. I mean, you hope that he's better, but I will not complain if he ends up just as good as Nick Kurtz. So
Nick Kurtz is fantastic.
He is great. I remember
he would fall.
Yeah, we were talking about this last week or the week before when the draft last year was coming around, and there was rumors and speculation that Nick Kurtz might fall. And dude, we wanted him so badly, and then he ended up going top 4.
Yeah, he went 4. It was such an out of left field move for the A's, because they've always been so cheap.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And then they went and got an above slot, actually took BPA, and
it's a home run.
Good.
I will give the A's props. They've got 2 just outstanding rookies this year, Jacob Wilson and Nick Kurtz.
Yeah, they do. I think Jacob Wilson is, I think Ricky might have mentioned it, I think he's everything everyone hopes that like Gavin Keelan can turn into.
Absolutely.
Granted, he's actually probably very similar because he's not great defensively at shortstop.
Yeah.
So he probably ultimately needs to go to second base anyway. But the guy just hits.
Yeah. His bat to ball skills are just insane.
Yeah. And the metrics don't love him, but at the end of the day,
I'll say the metrics may not, but the eye test does.
Yeah. Isaac says Jacob Wilson has kind of fallen off. I mean, it must be nice that you can go 188 over the last 30 games and you're still hitting 311.
And you're still top 2 for rookie of the year.
Yeah. He's cold, man. I mean, every hitter in baseball has time. Well, almost every hitter in baseball has stretches where they're cold, but if you can do that over a 30 game stretch and you're still hitting 311, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Who mods this channel? I mean, we all do when we're in here, but I will say it's pretty tough to. I don't know if something was going on in the chat, but
yeah, I mean, someone call it out if someone's out of pocket. We mod Cody and I both, and Ricky when he's available, but he's on assignment, so we're trying to do both. So if someone's popping, just let us know. We'll put you in timeout for a little bit.
Anybody that's interested in modding too, just I think I added a few people in the past, but I don't know how many.
I was gonna say we'll grab the chunk left need be.
Especially if you're a regular, always welcome to.
Yeah, if you're a regular viewer, just ping one of us if you are interested in modding, because we can probably use that on days like today. Ricky's cougar hunting. You said it. You said it.
He's sliding into the minor league players' mom's DMs. I don't know if anybody, most of you I think are that I'm seeing in here watch the show quite a bit. Ricky has a lot of moms following him on Instagram, a lot of the players' moms on his sfgiantscove page. Make sure you listen or you follow that if you're on Instagram. He's got a bunch of players' moms following him on there, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny. Adi, if you're honestly interested, either DM me or Cody.
I'm good at throwing
Because
slippers.
especially on days like today where it's 300 plus viewers and the chat's popping, like the two of us, we can't do it alone. So
Oh, that's hilarious.
Kai Wei Tang, baby. That's my
Hey,
dog right there.
last week you were what, the Kaiwei Tang stand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And someone commented on the video, they're like, no love for Kai Wei Tang. I was like, bro, did you not see my name?
Yeah. I think people don't like that I haven't been putting him in the minor league update. And I'm just like, dude, I've got 50 people in that update. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is
it's funny. He'll send us
week's. Look at these.
He will text that to us every week and be like, here's your prescription.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, doc.
Yeah. How about trying to steal Henry Ford from the Mariner system? Hey, I'm telling you, Tom, if they could, I'd do it.
Yeah.
Like 100%. I just don't know what you're gonna have to give up in that case, because you're not gonna give up Bryce, but you're gonna have to give up a couple really good pieces.
Absolutely.
And it's not like you're sending Bailey back in that trade because they've got Cal Raleigh. So it's kind of.
Have you seen Kai Wei Tang's metrics this year?
Like just his numbers, or
his stats savant metrics? I know the minors has their own version of it.
Oh, I haven't looked at the page now.
Ariel just sent it to me, and dude, he's like, he's all red, bro. It's in the chat if you want to take a look at it. But yeah, you saw it.
Shout out Ariel. I mean, hey, you know what? Give the guy a chance.
Yeah.
And
Adi, I just saw your DM, by the way. We'll respond to you either tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah. Anthony says, how's Dakota? He's currently on the 7-day IL. Supposedly Roger Munter mentioned an oblique, which tracks. I know I mentioned that in one of the last minor league updates, I remember mentioning that he exited, I think, a couple Saturdays ago, and he didn't do anything on, like, he made the last out in the field. He was in the field, made the last out of the top of the inning, didn't hit the bottom of the inning, and then they pulled him the next time they went out to the field. And I thought it was a little odd because the play that he made right before he left the game, all he did was like trot back a couple feet. I think I might have sent it to you guys. I don't remember, but he only like kind of turned around, went back a couple feet, squared up, caught the ball. Like, it was a very routine play. And then he left the game. So I had a feeling it might have been something on a swing. So I didn't hear it. I don't, unfortunately, I don't have Roger's stuff. So I don't know if he said it was an oblique or they're speculating or what the case, but I did hear that. So
yeah, probably should have had Ricky send him a message. Let's get a little more info as what was going on. I mean, I did that with JC and got the intel right away. So
yeah, we've gotten it with a few guys.
That's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah, we bugged Jeremiah, Jacob Christian.
They all respond.
Yeah, they let us know on Xander too.
Xander,
Jeremiah did, yeah. And then
I got
a little more in the season. I don't get too many.
You know who followed me? I don't know if I told you. Like, out of the blue a couple days ago, Charlie McDaniel.
He's insane, dude.
Yeah, I think he followed you and me around like probably the same day.
And then Reynoso.
Reynoso didn't follow me. Yeah. And then Jack Choate followed me as well.
Yeah,
he followed.
Jack did too.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
We've got some guys that we're going to try and get on in the offseason. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was chatting it up with Jacob this morning. He thought he broke his foot. Legitimately, he was relieved that he didn't. Dude, he was in so much pain.
Did you go back and watch that?
Yes, bro. I seen watching. I was like, dude broke his foot. Like,
yeah, he hit that like right up, like you had the instep, and then he hit it like right off the top.
Yeah,
like right on the instep. Like, and there's that bone right there in your foot, and I'm like, dude, and then when he had like two dudes carrying him, and he's like, you could see it in his face. I thought the same thing. I was like, I think he just broke his foot. Yeah. So super fortunate for him. That's
Yeah, when I was texting him this morning, and he was just straight up like, I thought it was broken, bro. I was like, dang. But luckily, it's just a pretty bad bone bruise, so
yeah.
he'll be all right.
I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't play the rest of the week, but hopefully he avoids the IL at least.
Yeah.
Recycle Your Pet says, what do you think are the chances Bryce Eldridge gets brought up this year? I think it's maybe a little below 50-50, honestly.
I think it really depends on how the team's playing through July and August.
Yeah. So if you bring him up now, you're obviously starting as options. So you're going to end up basically getting rid of an option year by doing it.
Sorry, really quick, Cody. I need to stop you for 1 second. Hey, LD, Joe, guys, chill out, man. Now the chat's kind of chill that I can see what you guys are saying. Guys, just chill. Like if you don't want to talk to each other, just don't talk to each other, man. I don't want to have to time you guys out. You know what I mean? We're in here just vibing, we're relaxing, we're chilling. Like, let's just be cool. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just want to address that real quick.
And honestly, I'm not going to go figure out who started it. We'll end up modding both of you guys. So
let's just it's the off day. It's 10 o'clock at night. We're just vibing. We're chilling. We're talking Bryce Eldridge. Let's just do our thing, man.
Giants didn't lose today. There's no reason to be upset.
They're on a 2-game winning streak. We should be in a good mood.
Exactly. Man. But yeah.
Anyways, continue. My bad.
I would say, I mean, I've said it in the past. I think if they're going to bring him up, end of August makes the most sense, because he'll maintain his rookie status going into next season, and you pull him up early enough that if you make the playoffs, you at least have the option to put him on the major league roster or on the playoff roster. So that's why I don't want to wait till September, because I believe I'd have to double check this. I'm pretty sure though they made it the rule where if they're not on the roster September 1st, or like haven't been on the roster prior to September 1st, I don't believe you can actually be on the playoff roster. So to me, it makes the most sense to do it like end of August if you're going to do it. That said, he's not exactly forcing the issue right now. He's hit a couple homers this week, hit a walk-off yesterday. That was super fun. But still striking out too much in AAA. It's a small sample size. I'm not panicking about this at all. He's figured it out at every single level he's been in. He's not quite forcing that. So
no, yeah, agreed. I mean, luckily he's starting to heat up and sack. He's already got 2 bombs going that walk off. So you want to see Bryce kind of continue that momentum here. So we'll like I said, me personally, I think it really just depends on how the next couple months go. If you get, if you're entering August, September, and you are in contention for a wild card spot and you can improve it, you're absolutely going to probably see Bryce make an appearance. But I think more than likely it'll be going into next season.
I want to be in a mod. I'd definitely abuse the power. Yeah, I put him in timeout. I can't do it anymore. We're almost done with this show. We didn't ban you guys from the channel, but we're almost wrapping it up anyway. So sorry. We just can't.
I tried to be nice with my voice.
Yeah.
Cody lays down the hammer with his finger though.
Like I said, we're gonna be wrapping this up here in just a couple minutes. So
yeah, Cody is Anthony.
Yeah. Yes, I am. So, all right. I think that's pretty much it.
Anyone have any last minute questions before we hop off for the night?
Did anyone say sell? Here, I'll jump back to Isaacs in a second. None of us said sell, but I would think of if like the team loses the next 6 games right before the break. I mean, a soft sell shouldn't be out of the question. Moving off guys like Flores and Yaz, and if you went 0-6 in the next week, I mean, a guy like Tyler Rogers makes a ton of sense, who's on an expiring contract. But no, I mean, I don't think this team's in a spot to hard sell at all. And when I say hard sell, I mean moving guys like Robbie Ray.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can't see that.
Yeah.
Series preview, we kind of talked about that, not really in depth. We talked about some of the expected starters for the next two series and really what you want to get out of it.
I will say this about the upcoming series. It's going to be really tough to take the third game. We don't even know who's going to pitch for the Giants. That could be a bullpen game. It might be Seymour, which might be the same thing. But they've got Senga going in the third game, so it's going to be really tough. And but you do have Webb and Ray your first two games. So if you can win both of those, then you're in a good spot. But yeah, that'd be a tough one. So
if you think Wiseman isn't traded by the end of the week, do you think we see him in the rotation? What do you think, Cody?
I think you're more likely to see him in the pen at some point.
Yeah,
he's getting up there on his innings, and I feel like his changeup would play really well out of the pen. So especially in a end of the kind of a September call-up role, maybe something like that, where you can just bring him up for the stretch run and just have that changeup available.
That was one thing I got a lot of heat on X, was I didn't like seeing Jelly get the call up, and I would have much rather, you can DFA him, clear a spot on the 40, add Wiz to that and bring him up just to have that changeup in your arsenal as far as the pen is concerned. And I got a lot of heat. People calling me every name in the book saying that he's not ready just for Jelly to come in and implode. And I just went, I told you so.
Yeah.
But no, realistically, a September call-up is probably likely for Wiz.
And honestly, my honest opinion on Wisenhunt is I don't think he's not ready as as his ability to get guys out, but I will say his velo's down a little bit. Yeah. So not ready in the sense that his body's just not built up enough to withstand the full season, and we're too deep into it. Because he is kind of living 90 to 92 instead of the 92 to 94 that he had been. Yeah. That said, he's done a little bit better with his fastball command. Like that is the big thing for him. When you throw a relatively straight fastball in the lower 90s, like you can't miss that out over the plate. That's going to get hammered. So he does need to spot it a little better. But
Miss B, I know you saw my post, so appreciate you feeling the same way.
Yeah, for sure.
A couple more I want to grab. Giants fans since 58's X says hi to Ricky. We'll be sure to relay that message for you. I'm sure Ricky says hi wherever he is. I want to bring up this really quick. Vince, it wasn't Chapman's hand. It was his elbow. He did have an X-ray after the game. X-rays were negative. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah. And then
I just know it didn't feel good. What's going with Trent Harris? Again, another guy you may see in September.
Yeah, he's he had a really tough start, but his last two outings have been really good. Last one in the Futures game, and then also pitched, I think, Sunday. Went 1 1/3. Might have given up, I think, one hit and struck out a guy. Had a really clean outing. Command actually looked a lot better in that game. Yeah. That's been his thing. A little bit too much nibbling, smaller zones in AAA because of the ABS or the challenge system, so it's a little bit tighter. But yeah, overall. And then what are the chances Birdsong gets one more start before getting sent down? He already got sent down.
Yeah. Already got sent down. Saw a couple of people asking what's going on with Jung Hoo Lee. I wish we knew. I don't know if it's mechanical. I don't know if it's mental. I don't know if it's approach. I don't know if he's just tired. But they definitely need to fix that.
Patrick Bailey syndrome. He's just tired.
He's just sleepy. That's all.
Man, Piguero, he can't throw strikes. It's been
seems mental to
me.
Main
issue. Yeah,
that would make sense. Mispy.
Yeah. Thoughts on plate crowding that has led to a large increase in hit by pitches. Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's a combination. It's the guys stand on the plate more to cover the outer half, and there's just you can't retaliate. so pitchers don't have any reason not to throw in there, and they don't care if they hit you.
Yep.
So yeah.
Bake that dough. Appreciate the 199.
Hey.
See, you're Aaron Lost. Okay.
That's that guy. Okay.
We were wondering, I was like, where's this
What's
Bake
up,
That
man?
Dough account? Where did they come from?
Yeah.
Super, super active. It's Aaron. Okay. What's up? Thank you for that, though. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Exactly.
If you make fresh baked cookies, me and Cody will take some. I like chocolate chip, but I am definitely allergic to peanuts. So please do not poison me.
My wife says send the peanuts up here.
Yeah, send them to Cody and his family.
I do like chocolate chip too, as well. But I think that's I think that's time to
end on some cookies.
Yeah, I see Joe and LD's timeouts ended, so I think it's about time to get this out of here.
Yeah, it's all good. He's in Hollister. I don't know what they're talking about.
Maybe I don't know.
The cookies in Hollister.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, that's not too far from me. Maybe I'll have to go say what's up.
Yeah.
On the real though, guys, the viewer count keeps going up and up, and we can't stay live too long.
Yeah.
Me and Cody both have work, and he has a family, so we're gonna have to call it quits here in a little bit. But no, you guys have been super, super active tonight. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we ran out of stuff that we had set aside to talk about 30 or 40 minutes ago. So appreciate you guys for being active in the chat. So it's always fun. I enjoy doing this. I don't like to fill up the whole hour and a half. I think we had to do that the other day where we like filled up the whole thing with our stuff and then just kind of moved off. We didn't have a ton of time to interact that much with the chats. And I like it. This is what like one of my favorite things to do every week is just sit there and talk with you guys. So this will be the last one I'll hit on. I think Roop has already pushed past the wall, which unfortunately Birdsong didn't. Are you talking about his innings or just like the wall in season as far as sorry, as far as like getting through his struggles? Because as far as innings, he's almost to his career high, which is concerning. But
the one bright side I have with that is if you look at his last few starts, especially since June, he's got like a 1.3 ERA. Yeah. So he's not showing signs of fatigue in the slightest, which is very, very encouraging.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, on that note, I think we're gonna wrap it up. So I appreciate you guys. We have 320 people almost in here right now watching. I think like over 100 on YouTube, which is fantastic. As we said earlier, if you do enjoy it, do please hit that like, hit the subscribe. Follow on X at EYDShow. We're going to post these live shows to Spotify. We've been doing that for the last few weeks. So if you do prefer the audio only options for your commute or whatever, I know that's a killer commute depending on where you're coming from, going all the way if you work out in like the city, follow it there. Ricky's got his IG account, sfgiantscove, tons of highlights, lineups get posted there. He'll post some of the rumors, some really great content that he does. He works hard on that account.
He does.
Yeah, make sure you follow that. You get a lot of the same highlights I end up putting on the minor league update. He gets them out there first on there, so you can catch those. So lots of good stuff there. And then if you just want some grade A trolling, just make sure you hit Dan over at Caveman Dan 90 underscore Caveman underscore Dan 97.
Caveman like underscore Dan 97. Yeah. I keep it out of this because for whatever reason, my X pops off on a consistent basis.
Yeah. And he already got me blocked by Pavlovich, so he's trying to avoid other.
I got Cody blocked by Pavlovich. I'm blocked by every other person I see on X. If you want laughs, come see me. That's all I gotta say.
It's a good time. Just don't take him seriously.
Just trust me. It's never that deep. Don't take me too serious.
Yeah. I'm half just here for laughs. Just try to piss people off.
I would say probably 97.2% of the time.
Yeah. Love it. But all right, everybody. We're gonna wrap
Alex,
it up.
That is correct.
Which one? Bruh. I expect nothing more than Ricky to put that meme together. But we're
I'm
gonna wrap it
expecting
up.
it when we wake up.
Thanks everybody for hopping in here. Go Giants, and we'll catch you next week.